Hello and welcome to the Red Wing clay train that's on the DRW&S line, which was the Duluth, Red Wing, and Southern. So let's get going. Hello and welcome to the DRW&S. That's the Duluth, Red Wing, and Southern Railroad. And we're specifically looking at that was located in Red Wing, the clay train. So the clay train was to provide clay for the pottery factory to make those clay pots, and you'll see that in my little intro. And later on, as it was actually the great after the Chicago fire, or I don't know about that, but anyways, there's history behind that where Chicago needed a lot of clay pipes for their sewer, and they started making clay pipes too. So from my understanding of history, and it might be wrong, that they were actually shipping by train a lot of sewer pipes down to Chicago, but who knows, and other places in Minneapolis probably were installing sewers, clay sewer pipe all around. So just a little fun facts, but might be not totally true facts. But let me know if you know more about that. In fact, I know there's a guy in Red Wing who makes a lot of train videos. He might even know more about that. So I just go by the stuff I read that I've gotten. I lived in Red Wing, Minnesota years back in my career, and that's how I got that hunk of sewer pipe. I actually found it in the woods. So yeah, so I'll get you set up so we can see the layout better overhead, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. We got the camera set so you can see the board, and we'll get started. The last time, I got this piece here because we're going to be working on this. The last time I got these rails laid out, and I think I got them just about right where they're supposed to be. And so what we're going to do is we want to cut a piece of this out, so I don't have the whole piece, but just a curve so I can lay it underneath there like these things are, and that'll get it at the right elevation. And then that way I can lay the track down, and this will be able to slide in and out before I glue everything down. So let's get going on this. So what I did was I marked them, but I'm going to be marking them on this piece too. But I wanted to make sure, and let me get my marker. I wanted to make sure that I had them lined up with this. And it's funny because I've got it marked off, but this one is 1, and this is 1 here. On my board, I have a half of one. These are 12 inches, but it's actually bigger than it is on this, because this one's 1. So this, right where I got my number 1 put, is actually right here. But as you can see, I got a little left over down here. So I got to be careful where I'm laying out for my blocks, because when I look at 1 on here, you can see this is 1. You can see the curves here don't break. They don't break until after 1. Let me get this right. this is where one breaks. And so they don't break until we start getting into two. And maybe I don't think I marked two on. Oh yeah, there's two. So I want to make sure I have where these curves come, where that curve track is supposed to be, that it's breaking in the proper spot, which it looks like I got it. I might be a little too far this way. So I'm going to move these, make sure that I get this guy right where it's supposed to be. And then mark this. So that'll be, and so this one, this one, when we come up here, is, okay, so this one is 2. So that's actually in the middle of 2. So this would have to be even a little more. Middle of 2. So I think I'm going to line my sheet up and overlap. Two, and then this is actually where the flex track will go. Right here, flex track. So I don't have that set up yet, but I think I'm going to go from this end, and then everything will come off of there. Because what I'm going to do next is I got to solder each one of these joints. So let's get this thing marked. I think I can get away with lining it up with this line since I'm going by that. And these change because there has to be more track there, which is lining up correctly that way. And I only put this in here to kind of see how it's coming out. So that would be kind of like that. So what I'll do is let me get my straight edge. Let me get a few things so I can mark this. I do have a straight edge. Hang on, let me grab that. Okay, so I got my straight edge out. Here we go. It's a nice one. I don't know why I haven't dragged this one out sooner. But this one reaches all the way across. That may be too far. Ah! Maybe too far. Oh well. Let me put you on. Oh, this one's too big. So hang on. All right, there we go. Got the shorter one. Had to move it was back there. I had to move all this stuff. So here we go. We could set this down. I know this edge isn't real straight, but close enough for track laying. Because I want to get it. As you know, I got marks here, but I didn't have it this. So we want to get this up to there, where it would be kind of square. And when after I get these soldered, they're not going to move. They're not going to bend as much because they're bending all in here. So we'll get this up to snuff. We're just looking at getting it lined up. Getting it lined up where it's supposed to go. And so we got that. So we're going to just mark this. That's where our board is going to be cut. Or the cut. So we'll get this guy up here. kind of want to get these tracks kind of in their form just to get them kind of where they're going to be. So we'll set that down. We'll set that down and mark these. Especially these. I'm just going to put some reference marks here. Just like that. So now we can carefully lay these things on because they're not soldered yet. So we can get these, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this so that we can get everything lined up. So these here, like I said, aren't soldered together. So we'll get these lined up. And what I did, I checked each one of these rails because they're going to want to bend and not be in the right place since I lifted them up. So we'll go like that. Now we'll take this guy off. We're going to take this guy off. We'll take this, oops. See, that one already came apart. Which we don't want to do because that'll throw our measurements off. So what we're going to do is I'll move this over. Is what I'm doing is I'm lining up those dots so we can get a nice center line. And then I'm going to check all these things here. Make sure they're aligned right, because with them not being soldered, they have a tendency to bend. And get that guy back in place. Then I got to find a smaller pin to mark them so we can connect the dots to get our center line. Let me check these. Since they came apart. Track laying is tedious, but you want to get it right because it'll even affect. I wonder if I do this. I might be able to poke a hole with this thing. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I need something smaller. So now what I got to do is I got to put a little mark between each one. That's not even big enough. I don't know what's going to be easier. It might be easier just to draw these just using this. Maybe put something down to stabilize them. Let's just do this. There we go. So that's got our track lead. All right. So as you can see, we'll cut this out, only leaving a little right away. And then we'll have our piece so we can mount it right to here, which will start right there. Make this, keep this a little wider for overlap of things. But yeah, that'll have it. So next time I'll show you how to, and I'm learning how to, I'll show you how to solder these rails. I'm gonna have to find some heat sinks and play around with that so I don't melt the rails, and get these two curves actually all soldered up. So when we mount them to here, they won't bend as much, and they'll be solid. Because what happens is when you move these, they like to pull out from the couplers. So we'll get all those soldered, and I think I took them off right. We'll get those onto here and all soldered, and then we'll put the road bed down. Here, let me show you. As you can see, I've got the road bed so we can lay it down, and I've got to get some glue. They have glue that works well on foam, so we'll be working on that. So I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Red Wing Clay Train. We're moving along right on down the line, so let me pull this down here for a minute. Oh, that'll be the Red Wing Clay Train for this week, the DRWNS, the Duluth Red Wing and Southern Clay Train. Oh, another note, I almost forgot. I was in Hobby Lobby last night. Some goofy guy came up and started talking to me, and I'm like, I like that kid on a Christmas story. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm looking at something. And and he kept bugging me, so I actually had to set it down and walk away. So I will go back and look at it. It was expensive, but I actually found a Bachmann. It was a whole train, N scale train set, and it was called the Yard Boss, which had a little. It had a steam engine in it, which was cool, and some cars. I'm sure it came with the transformer and tracks, which I don't want all that. So I'm going to do some research to see if I can find that Bachmann steam engine that comes in the Yard Boss and just buy it separately, because that's all I need is the engine. Because the whole train set thing was $140, and I'm like, that's a lot. But trains are running that much now, anyways. I mean, that locomotive it might cost, you know, $100 too. So, and Bachmann isn't the makers of real fine steam engines. But anyways, it gives me something to look for on the internet, because I wouldn't mind having, I had that plumed one like I got already, like I showed you last week. But so there is another modern set out there with a steam engine, which is called the Yard Boss by Bachmann N scale. So just thought I'd let you know about that. So be sure to keep watching. Tell your friends. Tell people. Tell people who like trains and stuff, because I try not to get too long on one thing, but then I want to be detailed if you're watching the details of it. But you don't have to watch that one if you don't want to see that. You want to just actually see stuff even more together. So we'll see you next week, same time, same bat station. Be sure to wait until the train gets in the station, and you'll hear it. And so we'll see you next Saturday at 12 noon for the Red Wing Clay Train in N scale.